and we're kicking off today with WrestleMania. As though the show is still over half a year away, plans for the biggest event of 2024 are coming together. It's been reported that Triple H wants to stack the card as much as he can to mark the milestone 40th ever WrestleMania, but what match will be in the main event? According to sources who spoke to Ringside News, WrestleMania 40 will be headlined by the long-expected rematch, pitting Roman Reigns once again against Cody Rhodes. This shouldn't come as too much of a surprise, as after Cody's loss this year, many predicted that the reason for his loss is because he'd be winning in 2024. The source added that Rhodes vs. Reigns 2 has always been the obvious direction, with plans in place since before their match at WrestleMania 39 this past April. Since his loss, Rhodes has said that he intends to finish the story, and it appears he'll get his shot next year. And what do you make of this main event? Let us know down in the comments. On this week's SmackDown, Jey Uso quit WWE, and his profile has been moved to the alumni section of WWE.com. Despite this, fans shouldn't expect this quitting to last, as it's already rumored that he will face Jimmy Uso at Payback in the latest match exclusively with NOIE family members. We've seen Roman Reigns face both Jimmy and Jey, and the two brothers have also faced Reigns and Solo Sikoa, but one match stipulation isn't going to be happening. Many have speculated that one day a fatal four-way between these four men will happen, but when Ringside News asked, a source made it clear this isn't the plan. The source even said that the idea of Reigns vs. Sikoa vs. Jimmy vs. Jey has never been mentioned by anyone, and very few think it'd be a workable idea. While a Reigns-Sikoa split is expected down the line, there's no word on when that'll be, and when it does happen, don't expect a fatal four-way from the NOIE family. It seems like a lifetime ago that the Bloodline were standing tall inside Wargames after dispatching of the Brawling Brutes, Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens last November. Survivor Series 2022 marked the first time that Wargames had been used on the main roster, and fans can expect to see much more of the iconic double cage. When asked, a member of WWE Creative confirmed that the Wargames match is here to stay and will be a regular part of future Survivor Series Premium Live events. This was alluded to during the post-Survivor Series press conference when Triple H said that he had given great thought on whether to continue to use Wargames for future events. The consensus within WWE is that the Raw vs. SmackDown stipulation that was introduced in 2016 was played out and made little sense given how many stars appear on both brands. Wargames is an iconic stipulation that dates back to the 1987 Great American Bash. And are you excited to see more of Wargames each November? Let us know in the comments. In 2017, New Japan Pro Wrestling introduced its IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, which has been held by the likes of Kenny Omega, Jon Moxley, Jay White, and others. Right now, Will Ospreay is the holder of the gold, having beaten Omega for the gold at Forbidden Door, but this week saw a major change to the championship. After his New Japan G1 semifinal match, Will Ospreay revealed that he has transformed the title, which is no longer the IWGP US Heavyweight title, but now the IWGP United Kingdom Heavyweight Championship. The new title looks similar to the IWGP US title, except with a Union Jack flag being featured instead of the Stars and Stripes, and many predict that this is building to some sort of title defense at All In. We've heard that AEW's plan is for Ospreay to face Chris Jericho in London, though such a match is yet to be confirmed, and no matter what, the British wrestler will look forward to remaining IWGP UK champion for as long as he can. Now, last night was the latest episode of AEW Collision, and as you'd expect, the show was centered around CM Punk. In the main event, Punk and FTR were unable to dethrone the House of Black as AEW Trios champions, and the self-proclaimed real AEW World's Champion had plenty to say after the match. Speaking to the crowd, Punk once again took aim at Hangman Adam Page, somebody who Punk hasn't worked with since mid-2022, and made his feelings known about the Cowboy. He said, "Carolina is Hangman country," referencing a sign in the crowd. "Earlier today I went to a local supermarket and I figured out why they call him Hangman. It's because the pegs in the toy aisle are full of Hangman action figures because nobody wants to buy them. He's a peg warmer, unlike me, who moves merchandise, pops ratings, sells toys. You've got everybody in AEW saying, 'I'm the heart, I'm the soul, I'm the spirit.' Well, that's objective, subjective. What's a fact is the people who say that certainly aren't the chin of AEW because the lights go out faster than, what? GTS. Go to sleep. I don't know what I'm trying to do. I got rocked too. I told the House of Black no chops and they chopped me, so I'm very mad. Of course, this isn't the first time that Punk has taken issue with Page, infamously burying the Cowboy during the AEW All Out Media Scrum, which many took issue with at the time. Many, both in and out of AEW, felt that Punk's burial of Page last September was uncalled for, and made AEW look bad given that Page had routinely been one of the most featured stars. CM Punk's issues with Page certainly haven't been settled, but was this an effective post-show promo, or merely a case of Punk refusing to move on from a situation? Let us know your take on this situation in the comments. Back to WWE, and it's been a very long time since Bobby Roode competed, as the 2 neck fusion surgeries within a year have kept the glorious one on the shelf. Some even believe that Roode's in-ring career may be over, but the former NXT champion may have found a new role as a WWE producer. In the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it was stated that Roode started working as a road agent at this week's TV tapings, which comes after reports that he was seen backstage at SummerSlam. If Roode is WWE's next hand behind the scenes, he'll join the likes of Tyson Kidd and Jason Jordan, who also transitioned into backstage producer roles after career-ending injuries. Aside from these two, WWE's Backstage is home to several ex-wrestlers turned producers, including Billy Kidman, Michael Hayes, Molly Holly, Abyss, Jamie Noble, and Shane "Hurricane" Helms. As a veteran of the business, Roode would no doubt excel as a producer, but he remains optimistic about an in-ring return, so we'll have to wait and see what's next in his career. During the post-SummerSlam press conference, Paul Heyman rejected the idea that the Bloodline storyline is nearing its end, saying that the story is in the bottom of its 3rd inning. Those comments have had many talking, including Kurt Angle, who on his podcast claimed that Heyman was talking nonsense, saying, "The storyline is great, I love it, but I think Heyman was full of shit. I think they're in the 8th inning and they're stressed. They're making up now. That's what I believe. Paul Heyman, I know him, and I know that he's probably going crazy right now." In a tweet, Heyman fired back at Angle's remarks, saying, "No matter what inning we're in, at least we're not looking for exposure through the next Old Timers Day. Ahem. And just for the record, I typed this tweet with a broken freaking fingernail." With Jimmy Uso's betrayal at SummerSlam receiving mixed reviews, some suspect we're in the final stage of the Bloodline, and do you agree with Kurt? Sound off in the comments. And we're ending with Brian Pillman Jr., as before this week's NXT, it was reported that the ex-AEW star was at the event, and many predicted he'd be on the broadcast. That didn't happen, as NXT went off the air without an appearance or mention of Pillman, and in an update, the Wrestling Observer newsletter confirms that he has not been signed at this time. No creative involving Pillman has been discussed either, and it is said that he is undergoing medicals, but unless something major is found, he will be signed by WWE. Pillman last competed in May for AEW, and his last televised match was back on a February episode of Rampage, and while his debut wasn't this week, expect him on NXT TV soon enough.